All right, let's get you a modcast on a beautiful Tuesday. Well, maybe not beautiful, but warming up a little bit on a Tuesday. Jason Sukamel, Anwar Richardson, Alex Dunlap are here. I'm Chad Hastings. Thank you guys for jumping in the Specs chat. Also, thanks to our great sponsors, including Daily in Black. You'll see the logo in the lower left the whole time, but I'll throw up a little QR code for you here at the beginning. If you need lawyers, it'll be on your side. Daily and Black are the ones you need to check out. Remember, it's DALY and Black. They bring us the modcast each and every week. We got Chris Bennett and got some others jumping in. Get on in the chat. Thanks to Specs for sponsoring the chat. We'll get you a little more specs as we roll on. And today's modcast is pretty simple. I was kind of thinking about 2026 for Sark and the theory of this offense. And then I was on orangebloods.com and I saw Anwar throw in a comment about Cam Coleman. And I know Catch and you, Anwar, have been talking about Cam Coleman. So I thought, all right, let's kind of combine these ideas. And basically my thought is, should Sark be thinking about 2020 when he thinks about 2026? Because in 2020, when he won that national title calling plays, he had one badass receiver that he fed, and he had one badass running back that he fed. And I'm wondering if that should kind of be the theory here. So, Anwar, let me start with you. Cam Coleman, last year he caught 56 footballs. When he won the Heisman, Devontae Smith caught 117. What should be the goal in your mind for Cam Coleman? How many catches do you want to get him if you're Sark?
I don't know. It's hard for me to quantify at this moment, but I'll say this, though. I think Sark's MO has been, as you say, kind of feeding the beast. You know, I know people keep saying, well, there's a lot of mouths to feed here, whether you look at Cam, you look at Wingo, you look at Mosley, you look at Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers and the tight end and all that. But that goes against what Sark has been about, is from a play calling standpoint throughout his at least the years that we've noticed him, right? It hasn't been what he does. He finds his running back, and that's usually his workhorse back. He gets his go-to receiver. That's usually his go-to receivers. And the other guys fill in. They play their roles. But I don't see a scenario. You guys remember when, Alex, you did all these grades and stuff. You remember when, like, Tom Herman, it was almost like hockey lines. And it would just be like there would be one starters, and then there'd be like another line of guys who would come in. You're like, well, why the hell did you just take out little Jordan Humphrey, right? And it's just like, shit, all right, now you've got the second wave of guys. Like, I don't see Sark doing it like that. I see Sark making, figure out who his bell cow is, and then that's it. And that's the guys that he goes to, and that's the guys that he feeds. I know there'll be a lot of mouths to feed, but say, like you said, there's a lot of mouths to feed at Alabama. But at the end of the day, when you're that dude and you're Devontae Smith and who's that running back again? I can't remember.
Najee Harris.
Harris.
But you Najee, and how many carries did he get in that season?
251 carries on where I'm looking at it right now, and he had 43 catches, so almost 300 touches.
I don't know if he's got a guy on there who couldn't do all of that, but it is Sark's MO, though.
Yeah. Jason, would you agree with that theory?
Yeah, I would strongly agree with that. And Anwar mentioned with Tom Herman, like almost the hockey line shifting, wholesale these guys go out, everybody goes in, and remember how pissed we would all get, and fans would be like, what is going on here? So yeah, like, dude, get your best players on the field. Devontae Smith that year had 117 catches. I don't know how many games they played that year. That would have been different. Now, I mean, Texas could play 16 games.
I think it would have been 13, right?
They would have been in a 4-team playoff. Plus, that's the COVID year, so I think maybe one less game because of that.
10 regular season games, and then
let's pull up his game log. But I mean,
like Devontae Smith played in 13 games. Yeah, so 13 games was the most that anybody played in that season.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. 13. Conference title game and the semi and final.
That's sick
for that. That is incredible when you consider it was only that number of games compared to what we have now. And by the way, somebody threw this in. It's true. Orange Bloods thinking exactly the way I was before I went and dug in the stats. That Bama team had multiple NFL wide receivers. You're not wrong about that, Orange Blood. But the number.
Waddle was hurt.
That's true. Waddle was banged up. Waddle caught 28 balls. 28. And there wasn't an injury part of it. Yeah. Mechie was 55. Mechie caught 55 balls. That's second place. There was such a clear guy on that team in terms of throwing him a football with Smith. And then Jason brought up the 251 for Harris and carries. Second place was Robinson with 91. They knew who the dogs were, and they fed them. Smith had 23 touchdown receptions, and Mechie caught 28 through the entire season. It was very clear what it was, and I would love to see Sark. You know, obviously you can't say, all right, we're going to go get Cam Coleman 120 catches. But, guys, I've been saying somebody needs to catch 60 for this team. Do we need to tweak that up to what? What about 80? Is 80 a crazy number to hope for Cam Coleman?
Well, I mean, I generally just look at it more from a counting stats perspective as more of an opportunity perspective. And if you just look over the course of, say, like the last 3 years, right? Years that they've been in, you know, I guess this last year, you couldn't say they were in the hunt, but I mean, it was a sweat at the very end, right? To see if they were going to be in the CFP, right? And then the 2 years previously, of course, we know they make it to the semifinals. So in those years, in 20, was from an opportunity standpoint, in 2025, so the highest target share on the whole team was Ryan Wingo. He had a total target share on the season of 24.58%. His nearest competitor, DeAndre Moore, was at 13%. Mosley was at 11%. Injuries at 11.5%. Livingston at 11%. So he's basically doubling up his nearest competitor as far as his targets and his opportunities. Sark was trying to get him the football, right? Mm-hmm. You look at the target share from 2020, from 2024, and can this be right? So 2024 was weird because you have almost doesn't seem right. That would Gunnar Helm have been the target share leader?
He did lead him in catches, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Over Golden and Bond, huh? So a little bit of a tighter distribution there, like 14%, 13.95% for Golden, 13.16 for Bond. We know that he was hurt, right? And even Jaden Blue is up at like 12%. So that was a little bit more evenly spread out. But if that's the deal, I mean, Matthew Golden showed off a lot of traits during that season, and that's what got him the look in the NFL draft. But during the regular season, it was pretty even in 2024. And then in 2023, you had another year where you had the one big dog at the top with Xavier Worthy, a 28% target share.
And that's the year he caught, 75 balls?
I don't know. I just have the targets pulled up. I don't know how many he caught.
He had 75 for 1,014 yards and 5 TDs in 14 games.
Yeah. I'm thinking that percentage for Cam Coleman might need to be right about there, or maybe even more.
Well, okay. Well, if he's at a 28% target share, then that's a complete dominator. That is a dominator target share. If Cam Coleman gets 28% of targets, things are going to set to go nuclear. I just wonder, it's like, I mean, Ryan Wingo last year was kind of the guy that was right there on the precipice too. That's the guy that they want to get the football in his hands constantly. I mean, here's the thing, dude. Whenever people talk about this new wide receiver that the new wide receiver that they brought in, Sterling Burkhalter, people were like, yeah, well, he'll be a good role player. I'm just like, well, I mean, what exact kind of role are we talking? Because it's like we've seen, it's like once you get down to wide receiver 5 for Texas, certainly wide receiver 6, where he's going to because you think about it, Coleman, Mosley, Wingo, right? And then McCutcheon, who you're going to want to keep happy. And then Khalil Lockett, who you're going to want to keep happy. It's like somebody's going to get squeezed, man. If it's a 28% target share for Cam Coleman, somebody's getting squeezed. They just are. They're going to want a 20% target share season, and they're going to come out with a 9% target share season just because that's how the math works.
Alex, I in the war room, I basically said he's probably just this year's version of Tariq Milton. That's probably where he's got to go. He'll get a couple of touches here, but to your point, there's just too many guys who are stacked in front of him. He's here. He's a grad transfer student. That's great. He's the body. He's a veteran. But as far as the impact guys that you're talking about, all those he would have to climb over all those guys that you mentioned, and that's a tough hill to climb.
Feels like he's more of an insurance plan if you need someone to fill in for a week or two, right? I don't know that he's going to be an every week contributor, but we'll see.
Yeah. Also, Jason brought up an interesting point with Najee Harris catching 43 balls back in 2020. And does Texas have a running back, or is it maybe a tight end? Could it be Masunis? Is it, do they have somebody that could be in that 40 catch range, no matter what their positioning is, to be in that maybe third slot, in terms of catching? That'll be interesting to see. We're talking about 2026, a little bit of a usage discussion, if you will. And should Sark be heavily thinking about heavily feeding one receiver and one running back, which does bring up another question, guys. Do each of you have your running back of choice? If I tell you he's going to hand the ball to one running back and try to make him the 1,000-yard guy, I've heard theories that it's Smothers. I've heard theories that it's Brown. Alex, why don't you start? Are you leaning one way or the other on, if there's a bell cow, who it is at running back?
Well, I think inevitably we're going to see a split, but I also think that Sark really would like to get back to that 1,000-yard running back thing. And I would side with Hollywood Smothers. I had him ranked higher in the transfer portal rankings. I think that is his what is it? I've forgotten that by now, his exact size. And
5'11",
195 is what he was listed last year.
And then Raleek's smaller than that.
Raleek was.
To me, it's just like, I've watched both these guys, man. I think Hollywood Smothers could stand up better. I also think he caught 40 balls last year.
The same weight, Alex. Raleek's 5'9", 195. Hollywood 5'11", 195. That would actually give Raleek the better BMI, but he just doesn't. I mean, Hollywood seems like the sturdier player to me. They're both really dynamic. They're both really good. I could be wrong. I was more impressed with Hollywood Smothers' overall game, and really liked what he did in the receiving game as well. I think he's a really well-rounded, all-around player. I think he's a slasher. I think even though he's 5'11", he doesn't really present a whole lot of surface area on his body. Can get small through the hole, but also you don't have to have the all 22. You can just go type in Hollywood Smothers highlights on YouTube and just watch it. I mean, it's pretty simple to see why anybody. I don't think you're wrong about either one, but if I had to pick one, I would lean towards Hollywood Smothers.
Anwar,
would you agree? Smothers your lean, or are you more of a?
Yeah, my intel on Raleek is that you probably want to keep him at about 15 touches per game, and that's including receptions. He's not a guy that you probably want to give a little more, much more of a workload to other than that. So with that being said, then that would probably lean a little bit more towards Smothers as that dude. And, look, just simple math is that guy, Texas received some sort of information that he might be willing to come to Texas, because dude was ready to go to Bama. He just was. And so the fact that Texas went and snatched him away and did it and felt like, you're not snatching a guy away if you just feel like he can be, a third down guy. Right, you're snatching somebody away who's basically on campus and at that school, because you think hey, this person has got this person might have a chance to be a starter. So just using the logic with that. I think Raleek is going to be more of a Jaden Blue kind of guy, which is no insult, by the way, but I think he has more of a Jaden Blue role in here. And I think that leans a little bit more towards Smothers as we sit here on February.
Dude, I think it says a lot, man. That Kalen DeBoer was like, dude, we could not run the football last year. Jam Miller wasn't good enough. I don't know what it was, whether it was something that the scheme had set up, whether it was jam, whether it was the offensive line. It's hard for me to tell, especially with, guys like Caden Proctor getting all kinds of draft buzz now, and, Brailsford and all the rest of these guys. You can't peg it all on the offensive line, or it's hard to peg it all on the system, hard to peg it all on the running back. But Alabama couldn't run the football. It was so obvious to anybody who watched them. And their idea was like, we can fix this by bringing in Hollywood Smothers. That says a lot to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. If you guys want to jump in the Specs chat and get us a super chat, we can certainly do that. Also, we'll thank some of our great partners today, including Hayes City Store. Anwar said he wanted some tahini.
Uh-oh.
Anwar gets some tahini.
There you go. Alex wanted it too, by the way.
That was good, man. With some Mexican martinis there.
There you go. They do have it out there in Driftwood, so go check them out. FM 150 out in Driftwood. I'll throw up the QR code there. It won't cover the tahini. It's perfect. See there? Just fits right in there. Hit that QR code. Go out and have some of these great beverages. If you're into tahini, you can grab that menu and let them know. Say, hey, I heard him talking tahini on Orange Bloods Live. They got a great old fashioned. If Anwar wants to go check that one out, they've got beer from all over the state. They've got frozen margarita flights, if that is your thing. And if you're into dark liquor, my wife's also a fan of their Jack Frost. That's their frozen Jack and Coke, if you want to do something like that. Plus, they have all the incredible food we talked about as well. Get on out there. The weather's warming up a little bit. Get on one of those great outdoor tables that you see there, or maybe you go sit in the ice house. If it's a little chilly, they've got the heaters. They got fans. They'll make sure it's the right temp for you out at Hayes City Store. Let them know that you heard about it here on Orange Bloods Live. So there you go, Anwar. Some tahini.
Alex, how good does that look? Isn't that like a night and day difference on how good those drinks look with that tahini on there?
Man, if I didn't have a no tequila before 6 p.m. policy, I'd want to run down there right now, dude. The Mexican martinis with the tahini, but also the green olives.
Mm-hmm.
The green olives on this side.
So now they're cooking with grease right there.
Good stuff.
They're gonna get flooded now.
Good stuff. Good stuff. If you guys want to throw some good stuff in the chat, we will definitely get to that. Super chats. Obviously, it's all brought to you by Specs. Shout out to Specs. Speaking of good drinking, we'll get you a little Specs coming up here in a second. The other kind of goal question I wanted to ask you guys was about Arch himself. When you look at 2020 in Alabama, it's an incredible goal to shoot for. Mac Jones was at 4,500 yards. So Arch was sitting around 3,100 last year, fellas. Give me a nice goal for Arch. If I say 3,500, Jason, am I not going far enough with the goal, or is that maybe a good place to start?
That's not far enough. They didn't make the SEC championship game. They didn't make the college football playoffs. If he goes 3,500, that tells me they're not going very far in the college football playoffs. And remember, Arch started the season slowly last year. That shouldn't be the case. He should blow past 3,500. I mean, honestly, maybe I'm crazy, but if Texas is going to have the season everybody wants and expects them to have, he better hit 4,000 or better. That means they probably go to the SEC championship game. They get a couple games, at least a couple games in the college football playoff. That means Arch doesn't have the slow start that we saw sometimes plagued him in 2025. So, yeah, if you're saying 3,500, I would take way more than that for Arch Manning.
Have you seen the Longhorn schedule in 2026, Jason? Like, what? I mean,
Arch is going to get his, though, man, especially with these weapons he's got. The way he finished the year, if that carries over the way he starts the year, then play. And obviously, he's got to stay healthy, of course. But with the weapons he has, I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't put up, seriously, 270 yards a game. I mean, he'll put up big numbers next year.
And you do get those. And if you make the run, you get more opportunities. Like we just talked about, the Mac Jones, that's 13 games as we established, but Arch is going to maybe get more opportunity. So Anwar, you're thinking 4,000. That's a little much for you.
It's a little bridge too far for me.
Okay.
I'm look, they've got the hard part for Arch is they don't have enough programs for him to pad the stats. They've got Texas State and UTSA, but sandwiched in between there is Ohio State, right? So if you just look at the schedule, you got Ohio State. I don't. Will he throw for 280 against Ohio State? I'm not going to say that today. They're going to go on the road to Tennessee. We'll see. They're going to go on the road to Tennessee. Now, look, the way they've been kicking Oklahoma's ass recently, okay, that should be a really good game for him. Like they've been that's a belt to ass kind of game for Texas recently, right? It maybe you say that I'm looking at Florida. I don't know what Ole Miss is going to look like here. Mississippi State should be very favorable for Texas, especially here. Missouri, I always think they're kind of fraudish to me, quite honest with you. At LSU, we know that's going to be a night game, right? So Arkansas actually did not too bad in the portal, quite honest with you. And then you have A&M, and that's back there in College Station. So I don't know. I think 4,000 sounds lofty to me.
Look, if he plays 15 games, let's say they make the SEC championship game, and then they'd have to make the college football semifinals to get 15, right? He would have to average 267 yards a game.
That would be the 14th game.
14th, 15th. Wait.
No. If you talk about it, they're the top 4, right?
Even if they're in the top 4, 15 would mean they're in the semifinals.
No, 12 regular season,
right? So
12 regular season, one the conference championship game. That's 13.
Then the
semifinals. Then that's game 14.
Is it 14? Okay.
I think it's 15, isn't it?
15.
Like the quarters would be 14. You said the semi, so if the quarters, you get the bye, you're into the quarters.
Yeah, quarters. Quarters.
You win the quarters, you play in the semis. Even if you lose that game, he would have to average 267 yards a game. If Arch can't average 267 yards a game, that's a big number. I get it, but coming off the way he finished the season and with these added weapons, dude, he should blow past that number.
So you think 4,000 is easy? You think 4,000 is
if they're as good as I think they're going to be if they play 15 games. Now, listen, if they don't make the SEC championship game, so that changes a lot of things, right? Then probably doesn't get to 4,000. But if they make it to the semifinals of the college football playoffs, which puts them at 15 games, yeah, I think he gets to 4,000.
I don't know, man. I think they're going to be more balanced this year. I think they're going to be able to. If they can't run it better, they're in huge trouble with the upgrades that they've had at running back and hopefully what they've done, at least with the starters along the offensive line. If they're not running it better, it's like, I mean, that's just goodbye from the start. Like, but
there's a lot of gameplay that goes into that too. I mean, if they're
but it's just like
playing from behind, if they're dominating teams.
But you can look, a bunch of game script stuff goes into it. But if you look at some of the games, versus there were just games like some of these games, versus, like you said, versus UTEP, he went for 114, passing yards in that game. I don't remember exactly how that game went, but they didn't beat UTEP by that much. Yeah. It wasn't like that was one where
that's what I said. He had some stinkers last year that I don't think he's going to have next year.
Right.
He had some pretty bad games last. He's not going to have the Kentucky game where he threw for 132.
Jason, do you know there's only one? I'm looking at the stats. There was only one passer in all of college football that went over 4,000 yards last year, and that's a guy from North Texas.
Is that right?
Mestamaker.
The only one.
Well, there's a bunch of shitty quarterbacks last year too.
I'm just saying. Sawyer Robertson is ranked second at 3,681. It's a guy from FAU. Josh Hoover's at 3,472. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but that's pretty damn. Joey Aguilar is at.
Who was the first one you did? Who was the first one that you said?
Sawyer Robertson from Baylor.
Oh, okay.
36.
None of those teams made deep playoff.
He did that at Baylor last year?
Yeah, that's what the numbers say on CFB stats.
I didn't know that. I mean, I saw him at the
senior. Mensa went for 39.73. Trinidad Chambliss 39.37. That might not be including college football playoff. Carson Beck 38.13. Hey, if Carson
how many guys went over 4,000 on your list, Jason?
Do what?
How many people went over 4,000 on the list that you have in front of you?
One, but there's two. There's others who are very close. 39.73 for the guy from Duke. Trinidad Chambliss, 39.37. Carson Beck, guys who played playoff games, 38.13 for Carson Beck.
Yeah. By the way, the question is, Jason, if Arch throws for 3,973 yards, will you say he underachieved?
Well, it depends on how far they go in the playoffs.
It depends on the run. It does. It depends on the run.
No. So go. No. How about this, Jason? Give us the numbers of all the guys in the Final Four. Give us
in terms of passing yards. From last year. Okay.
Yeah.
The UNT quarterback 43.79. Darian Mensah, that shocks me. He went 39.73.
No, he meant from the
no Final Four, the semifinals. I'm talking.
Oh,
about
I'm sorry. Okay, so that would be Ole Miss. Chambliss went 39.37. Carson Beck 38.13. Who are the other two? I'm scrolling down.
Indiana.
Oh, Mendoza 35.35. Dante Moore. No, who's the other? Who's the other semifinalist?
Ole Miss versus Oregon.
Yeah, Dante Moore 35.65.
So basically, so somewhere around the 36-ish numbers, it seems like to be the sweet spot if we average that around 36
versus Oregon. How already forgotten this? Who was the semifinal game?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Forever ago. Alex,
okay.
The portal washed our brains clean.
Yeah, okay.
The high was 39-37, Trinidad Chambliss.
In how many games?
Well, did they play in the conference championship? I don't even remember.
Well, we know that Miami didn't play in the ACC championship.
Yeah, that's true. We do know that.
And Chambliss didn't. No, that was that a rematch of Georgia Alabama in the SEC, or was that?
It was Georgia Bama, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You're right, Alex.
Yeah, because Ole Miss didn't have to deal with that game, or didn't because of the tiebreakers. They didn't deal with that game.
So, I mean, we're basically saying this.
They played 15 games. That's about what if I'm expecting Texas to play in 15 or 16 games. Yeah. Trinidad Chambliss played in 15.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, without the title game. Right. They'd be into the first because they had to play in the first round of the playoffs. Then you get into the quarters, and then those 3 games in 12 and makes sense, right? 15 games. You can get to 15 without the conference title game. If you guys want to throw in something on the chat, this is an interesting one from David Keith. Back to Arch. If Texas is truly a dominant on offense and defense, as the talent on the roster suggests, I hope Arch Manning is not playing in the fourth quarter of half of the regular season game. Oh, we will see.
Are we at that point? In the off-season conversations, like this is the August, everything is high. Like Arch is going to win a Heisman, 4,000 yards. He's on the bench at half of the games. Like this is February. You should pace yourself. Pace yourself, people.
Yeah, that one.
We fall into the same trap every year onward.
But it's a great thing to think about. But those kind of seasons rarely happen. That rarely happens.
I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth because I'm sitting here talking about Texas playing 15 games, but then I've also said, hey, this might be a 9-3 regular season team. I mean, it's going to be a really good team.
The thing is, though, Jason, if you look across the SEC, I mean, the SEC might have a lot of these kind of 9-3-ish teams going to a 9-game schedule, and we're just going to have to see how the committee. I have to think that Sankey was given some kind of assurance from the committee to say, look, we're going to properly weight this 9-game SEC schedule to where I think that 3 losses next year can be viewed a little bit differently than 3 losses this previous season, because they would have not gone to 9 SEC games if they knew that there wasn't going to be any sort of changes on the CFP side as far as the way that they look at the strength of schedule as far as letting them into the playoffs, because that would be cutting off your nose to spite your face. And I don't look at Sankey and think about him as that kind of leader.
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, Alex, I think how you can wrap your head around it a little bit, and you just have to do, some of the research on it. Some of this, the move to the 9-game thing, though, is to also make the TV package a little bit more appealing as relates to them when it's time for them to re-up. And so having 9 conference games, from a money perspective, seems to be one of the things I've been told is going to be appealing as they go forward. Or if they just ever decide like, hey, we're pulling out and we're just going to take our ball and go home. But I heard that the TV thing does play a part in trying to get more money in the next round of negotiations.
Well, I don't think it's right. I'm sure that that's true. I think both can be true.
Mm-hmm.
I think clearly. I mean, the looking out for the good of the conference means looking out for the good of the conference financially, but also looking out for the good of the conference, just, health wise, as far as having winning programs and being in the spotlight and all the rest of it. That's part of what makes you money. And Sankey just doesn't appear to me to be the kind of guy to say, we're going to go to this 9-game schedule without me going to whatever his name. I always forget his name. The guy we interviewed at SEC Media Days, Kevin something. Just without going to the commissioners there and saying, look, we need assurances here, the same way you give these cockamamie assurances to not Texas A&M, to Notre Dame about, if you win this many games or you're ranked in the top 12, you're automatically in and yada, yada. I think that there's probably some kind of deal that the SEC has. They're like, dude, we're going to a 9-game schedule. We need to know that you're going to evaluate this differently. So I don't think that I know this isn't the topic at hand, but I don't think that 9-3 is a death sentence for every SEC team next year.
I think it's a death sentence. I think it's an absolute death sentence.
Well,
I don't. Yeah.
Well, then they were stupid to go to a 9-game SEC schedule.
Well, that part we'll definitely agree on. I think because look, they understood that they did this thing as a kind of a trial balloon for the past year or two, and they've in each year they've been left out. We had the 2 years ago. We had the 3 9-3 teams. What was it, Chad? It was Ole Miss, Alabama,
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah.
In South Carolina, we're all at 9-3. All 3 of them got left out. You had Texas sitting there, at the 9-3. They got left out. Vandy was sitting at 10-2, right? If I'm correct with that number, they got left out. So they still. They could have just said, okay, to hell with this, and they're still going on it. So we've had 2 years where the SEC has put that number forward, and they've been left out in the cold. So I see a year 3 of that, and I do think I think it's absolute asinine that they did go to that. I think it's asinine also, Alex, and this is totally off topic, but I think it's asinine that you look at the teams that went to the Final Four, and these teams aren't even playing P4 non-conference schedules. And you've got other teams in the SEC that are not only killing themselves in a 9-conference schedule, but then adding in another P4 team and making it even harder. So I'm with you, but I think the SEC, honestly, as it relates to that, needs to get their head out of their ass, and all these programs do, because they're going to get lapped by all these other programs that are making their life easier. Okay, that's
also this year, the ACC going to 9 conference games for whatever the reason. Both of them were at 8, and now the SEC and ACC are going to go to 9.
I think some of you look it up. I think the Big Ten is making more money, or is paced to make more money than the SEC as far as contracts are concerned. But the SEC delivers better numbers, and they're a little pissed off about that.
Yeah, I think that
you have to look it up to make sure.
We all know the money. The money trail is always a big part of those answers, and I'm sure it'll be in 2026. If you guys want to throw in something on the chat, we will take those. Let's talk about taking care of yourself and then taking care of Valentine's Day. First off, take care of yourself with Sinus and Snoring Specialist, one of my favorite places. And thank you guys that have gone into Sinus and Snoring Specialist and mentioned that you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. It's real simple. We just went through this period of cold weather, warmer weather. It can really mess with your allergies, your sinuses. Are you a big snorer? Do you have sleep apnea? Take care of all that stuff. Get to breathing better and feeling better. Call 601-0303, or you can securely text them on that number, or go to sinussnoringent.com. Start finding out some of the things that they can do for you. Again, thank you for mentioning Orange Bloods Live. When you hit Sinus and Snoring Specialist, feel clear, rested, and healthy with Sinus and Snoring Specialist. They do an incredible job there. Also, when it comes to Valentine's Day, Specs is doing a great job for you. It is this simple. If you're thinking about Valentine's Day and wine, Specs is your place.
Do you love wine? There couldn't be a better time, because the savings during Spec's huge wine sale will make your heart race. These wines will have a big discount, but you're absolutely priceless. With hundreds of wines on sale, Specs is turning these aisles into the ultimate love story.
Uncork something special during Specs' huge wine sale, going on now. Specs, the fun starts here.
There you have it. Make sure you get that right bottle of wine for Valentine.
Yeah, that's Alex. Are you a wine guy? Are you Merlot-ish kind of guy? What do you go for?
Generally cabs. I like cabs. I like red blends. I like rosés. I like Chardonnays. I like Argentinian Malbecs. Shiraz. There's very few. I generally, man, the ones I don't like any Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand, and for some reason I don't really love Italian and French wines, which makes me probably sound really stupid, but it's just because I just came up just doing the whole Napa thing, and I like the Napa wines the best, and the South American ones.
That makes you sound educated, Alex. You have your palate, and then you walk into Specs and tell them exactly what you just said, and then they'll send you in the right direction.
Yeah.
You ever go to those vineyards out there outside of Austin? You ever been to any of those, Alex?
Yeah, I've been to them.
Not so much. You didn't love it.
Well, they just do a whole lot of these dessert wines. This like the muscats and the just those kind of really sweet ones is what they kind of do best. And I'm not a giant fan of those. And I think that the best one they have out there, or the biggest one out there, is Becker Vineyards, and they have a couple of varietals I like. But it's like you have to do really weird varietals here in Texas. I think some of the best ones don't really grow too well here. So
yeah, I've been out to Becker though. I did. That wasn't too bad. I liked it.
By the way, speaking of a very acute palate, our man David Keith says Big Red is better than alcohol. So
you know what, man? My son was asking me the other day, because we were at a barbecue place, and it's like the only place you see Big Red anymore. And he's like, well, what is it? And I go, it's Big Red. And he's like, what does it taste like? And I was like, Big Red. He's like, yeah, but what's the flavor of it? Like, what's? I was just like, I don't, is it supposed, because it's not like strawberry, but it's also not cinnamon.
I always think of Big Red as like sometimes you go to the snow cone stand as a kid and just say, mix all the reds. I think that's what Big Red is, isn't it? It's just every red you can think of put together.
I didn't have an answer for them. I was just like, I think they just kind of made their own flavor and dyed the thing red. Like, I'm not sure it's, just generally, like if it's like red, you think it's like a strawberry flavor, or but that's what, or watermelon. And I was like, no, man. I was telling my son, it's none of that stuff. And he has it with cinnamon. I said, no, it's really not cinnamon. I don't know what it is. It's just Big Red flavor.
You didn't let him try it?
No, I'm not gonna let him try that trash.
It's the easiest way to determine. Let him take a sip and throw it away.
Big Red is what happens if you let an 8-year-old invent a soda. I think that's what Big Red is. It's just, and you're right, Alex. I don't know that it has a flavor. I want to say cherry, but that's not exactly the flavor.
Not really cherry. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's just sugar into a vein is the flavor of Big Red. That is the flavor. Now you know what? Another snob it says it's a cream soda. It's a red cream soda.
Yeah. Maybe that could be it. Yeah.
I don't drink soda. So I don't know. Every once in a while, maybe I'll order something that comes with it and I'll take a sip, but that's
only if there's Jack Daniels in there, right on.
Now we're talking, baby. Right. I didn't say I didn't drink. I said I didn't drink soda. There's a big difference.
Anwar, next time you feel like drinking, Anwar, and you're being adventurous, if you could please try like a little Jack and Big Red and get back to us on how that is.
Nah, I don't like soda with my alcohol. Like I like a smooth kind of taste. I don't
Jack and Coke right here, man.
You're a Jack and Coke guy. That you probably are.
Even I can't insult Jack Daniels like that. No, we got to keep the Jack Daniels and the Big Red separate. You can't.
Jason, you strike me as a guy who drinks like Dr. Pepper every day.
I'm with you. I don't drink soda. I don't like Dr. Pepper. If I have a soda like once every 4 months, it's a Coke.
Okay.
I'm not a soda drinker unless I'm drinking Jack and Cokes, I guess. Mountain Dew, that used to be my go-to back in the day, but I just don't do that anymore.
Yeah, well, another drink that just really does what it's going to do.
What's in that?
Yeah, if you're going to do that. In fact, kids, go ahead and mix your Mountain Dew and your Big Red together. Just go. As long as you're going, just go.
Yes.
Before we get out of here, let me hit you with AV consultations real quick. Super Bowl's coming up. You're going to go watch the Super Bowl wherever you watch it, right? Maybe you go to a watch party. Maybe you go hit a local Pluckers in the Austin area. By the way, AV Consultations sets up all the Pluckers. But if you go there, start getting some ideas. If you go over to your brother's house or your grandma's and you realize they have upgraded their screen and you need to upgrade your screen or get multiple screens or finally get that movie room you've always wanted, AV Consultations is the place that can do it. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Let them handle every detail, including buying that new TV you've been dreaming of. They've been doing it since 1988. Tell them you heard about it here on Orange Bloods Live. We do appreciate that. AV Consultations will treat you right. All right, we talked about usage. We talked about Cam Coleman. We talked about all that kind of good stuff for Texas. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat. I think we're pretty clean. I think we're pretty good. Gentlemen, anything else? Anybody else got any business? Any other sodas you'd like to throw out? Root beer, anything? No?
I like root beer candy. I hate root beer soda.
Okay.
That one out.
I'm like these guys. There's no way I could drink soda. Like I used to do it, but there's no way I could do it now. But my kids are having like a Valentine's party at their school, and the parents are supposed to help bring the supplies or whatever. And one of the things you sign up for, because they're going to have floats and they're going to have either Dr. Pepper or root beer floats. Mm-hmm. And my wife was like, I'm going to pick up some Dr. Pepper and some root beer. I said, man, there's no reason to pick up any root beer. There's not going to be a single kid in this class that elects to drink root beer in their
What? Kids are done with root beer?
I don't know, but maybe that's just me projecting.
I don't see any kids wanting that IBC though. I think I'm with Alex.
No,
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe she should in case there's. I just bet you if at most it's gonna be 10% of the kids that elect for a root beer float over like a Dr. Pepper or Coke or whatever.
I say grab a bottle of A&W and just see what the kids see. You might turn those kids into root beer fans. You never know.
How old are they, Alex?
This is for my son's class, so we're talking second grade.
Oh, you definitely need root beer for second grade. Come on,
those kids, their palates ain't that developed. They're doing water, some Gatorade, some juices. That's about it.
Do a bottle of Dr. Pepper, a bottle of Mountain Dew, and a bottle of Big Red. Let them do floats out of one of those three.
God, no.
The Big Red float, that'll change their life.
The soda kids are the ones who are missing teeth at a really early age. I can tell you that much.
That is true. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, getting your notifications, and thank you for dealing with the soda conversation. Everybody go enjoy your favorite soda today, or stay the hell away from your favorite soda when you were a kid, whichever works best for you. We'll be back next Tuesday with a modcast at noon. Check out all the content at Orange Bloods Live. And, of course, check everything out at orangebloods.com. All that great content as we roll through the supposed dead period in recruiting, but none of it's ever dead. It's always there. Spring football's coming